What's the best way
Is that fucking... God damn it.
I'll figure it out. You have any glue?
These fucking...
You have an electrician?
I love Vinny like was keyed in with me. Glue? He's like, glue? What kind of glue? Elmer's? Crazy? Gorilla? Somebody hit me with another glue and I'll fucking give you $10,000 cash. I have it in my car.
Crazy glue.
No, we won't with it.
Oh, you said crazy. Fuck. yeah,
All
dude.
right. Here we go.
You know what? It's close enough.
Whatever. Like that?
I think that's great.
Is that legal?
I think that looks great.
Wendy, you happy with that?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dane Cook. Yeah, dude.
What's up, man?
So you met Scott,
Yep.
my co-host.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming, man. Like, you were one of the first guys that I wanted to get on here. Because you've been so generous with your time, with your support, and really without you, I would not have launched into a comedy career the way that I did. And
Have you ever, do people really know like how that kind of transpired and where we ended up yapping?
Well, I never shut up about it.
Oh,
so.
I've heard fragments and flex, and I was always like so moved that you acknowledged that we had that time. But I don't know if I've ever really held court with you to talk about like how that night was meaningful for both of us, because I was also in a very convoluted place in my life and time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to give people the cliff notes, it was when the first tiny rumblings of the press machine revved up for the Jackass 3D movie.
Yep.
That movie came out in, I want to say, October, but we're back like a few months before that in like maybe August, maybe even July. 2010. And I showed up for this Young Hollywood at the Four Seasons Hotel. They had a whole suite rented out, using it as a studio. They were cycling people through, doing interviews. And when I showed up for mine, they said, "Oh, dude, Dane Cook's in there. Go ahead and just barge right into his interview. It'll be hilarious."
Yeah.
So I walk in. By the way, we found footage of this, too.
Did they say barged, by the way? That's usually not the word that they tee you up with, right? Hey, you should pop in and say hi, but usually barge. Maybe for you it's barged.
Yeah. So I go in, I sit down. It was the first time we ever met. It was a pleasant experience. And I said, dude, Dane, I've done stand-up a couple times, and it's something I really want to dive into. And you said, great, cool. Next week we'll get you up on stage. And, like, I figured after the interview was over, maybe, like, you would just, it was great to say that on camera.
Yeah.
But sure enough.
Lip service Hollywood.
Yeah.
When the cameras
I got
were
enough of
not
it to
on,
know I didn't want to be that, but...
Yeah, when the cameras were no longer rolling, you were like, yeah, seriously, man, here, let me give you my number, and let's plan this out.
Yeah. Because I quickly identified something that we talked a little bit about, which was I knew a lot of people that were very talented that wanted to figure out how to recalibrate to stand up. And sometimes in the community, that's like really frowned upon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, they think, this is what they think, a lot of people in the community. You're a really good drummer, but you want to play guitar? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Right.
And I assume if you're good at one instrument, you're probably good at entertaining people, maybe in a couple of other instruments. And I had also gone through the same thing of like, I came up in kind of like a way that I broke ahead of a pack, and because I was using this new social media element, I was somehow not legitimate. I was hitting a button and
that's interesting.
Circumventing. So by the time this dude comes in the door, and I'm a bit of an energy vibe guy myself, I was like, oh, I identify that. I know where this guy's at. And also, I'd known like guys like Bert Kreischer, who I was telling you I sat at a Hojo's in Times Square in '95. And he was coming out of a time when he was the Rolling Stones, the Machine,
mm-hmm. Party Animal.
And comics were being shitty to him. Like, he's not one of us. He's not legit. He came from a hype article or something. So I was like, I was like, I'm a fan. And I felt like you were really sincere in that moment. And I wanted to just return that sincerity.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it so much. And I remember every bit of it. Like, I spent the next week just writing material. I was even going to like these hole in the wall open mics to practice it.
Yep.
I was, rehearsing it, writing it, rewriting. Spent that whole week just like coming up with this crappy little set. And, we showed up at the Hollywood Improv. You went on, and I think it was like Sarah Silverman, and then you, and then me, and I just couldn't have been more nervous. I did my set. I remember my first joke was, I've been clean and sober since Johnny Knoxville pulled an intervention on me. And you have a problem when your interventionist is Johnny Knoxville. And, it was what it was. I did this thing, and then what was crazy was that after...
Which for me...
It was funny.
Not only funny, but, like, my brain always goes to, like, if there's truth in your whatever... I respond to that even more than if you said something very funny that was only observational.
Mm-hmm.
Like, response is the response, but like you were saying something really real within the shell of something humorous. So that was cool.
That's how it's been like all along. It's just been like 100% like my reality.
How comedians get pissed when you come on and become a comedian from acting. Do actors get pissed when you are a comedian then you become an actor? I mean, is it kind of the same thing? Or are they like, hey, welcome?
No, in fact, like when I dovetailed into some dramatic stuff or stuff away from comedy, they were, if anything, people were excited, like, oh, you're going to bring an element to this scene or this script
That's crazy.
Maybe we didn't, you're doing something dramatic, but if we need something comedic, they kind of look to you, go like, you probably have an idea. Right. But the comedy world, as you now know, there's a lot of thorn patches, and there's, it's more competitive than what you would see exterior, as far as like, you think it's a community of just funny people just shooting championing. Shit. It's just not.
Right.
I wanted it to be that too for the longest time, but it's just not. And so you can when you find somebody who keys into you and is like, take a breath, come back. Somebody said to me really recently, dude, I've been getting beat up by so many kind of comics, and I think I'm going to quit. And I was just like, just do me a favor, don't quit tonight. Okay?
Yeah. Based
on this conversation, give it another night, give it one more shot. You'll feel a little differently with some new inspiration or whatever. But that moment, and 2 years later, have you and I talk about it and acknowledge it. I said it last night, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, man. Look what you've done. Much. You're so entrepreneurial, and I'm sure a lot of those people that maybe or maybe not are in your book are probably thinking like, man, I wish I had been more of a friend of that guy.
So Dane's the reason why I have a tour managing job too.
Yeah.
What?
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Also, real quick before you tell me that story, I'm the one who released Wendy. I would just let dogs out of the van and hope that maybe they found love in Peru. And so, Wendy, you're welcome, and Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, I'm his tour manager, and so like he brought me on like 9 years ago. So
got it.
Because he's a stand-up comedian.
By proxy, it was like, okay, that's cool. That's very nice, man. I love that.
Yeah. So I do the first set, and now keep in mind, Dane did his set, then he introduced me, and then I did my set.
Oh, we were tag team that night. Oh, shit. Okay.
You brought me on, and with vicious cruelty. Like I had left, I had left a bottle of water on the piano at the Improv, and you were like, does anybody like have a hazmat suit to remove this something or other, like?
Anybody want herpes?
It was like without fail, like on stage, Dane would be like just vicious.
Yeah,
vicious
the hazing
cruelty.
of love that you only get from a comic that really cares about you.
That's cool.
But then he gets off stage, watches me perform my set, actually cared to pay attention to it, and then when I got off stage, we sat down in the restaurant adjoining the Improv, and I'll never forget it. Like I sat down and Dane said, all right, I'm not sending you back to the drawing board. And I was like processing. I was like, wait, okay. So like he said, what I'm concerned with is your delivery, more than your material. Your material is like working, just you're so like tense and like nervous, and I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I was nervous, like.
Right. Thank God.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I was nervous, and he was like, I need you to relax. Relax.
Did you film it?
Yeah, well, just relax. I'd like be more conversational.
Right.
Be more conversational. It's just you.
Right. You don't have to be the thing people know of you or think you are. You have to have some showmanship. But I was really just trying to tell him, like, dude, you're fucking revved.
Yeah.
Get revved. Years ago, Metallica said, when somebody asked, why are you now doing more ballads? He goes, the hard stuff rocks harder when you slow it down a beat. And it was like, I took that into consideration in my own career. And I think I was trying to let you know that, like, you can't come out of the gate and fucking.
Well, yeah. And it was, you said you wanted to seem to be conversational, like don't make it be so much of a performance, but rather that you're talking like in a natural way to the audience.
Yeah, trying to tell you, like, you can build into performance pieces, but sometimes, like, in the own narration of your act, you gotta, like, that's when you can, like, cool down a little bit.
Did you film your set?
I did. That was a Wednesday night. And I was just so energized that you had been supportive, that you had been you know, like what you told me put so much wind in my sails that I arranged for that Friday night, 2 nights later, to be at the Laugh Factory to go work on this material some more. Yeah. And it just so turned out that it was you, and then it was me. Right. We repeated the same exercise. So after my
I was like, put him on after me. I want him to learn everything all at once.
Yeah.
So it was the same thing. That night, I come off stage, and we sit down together, and you said, okay, now you're too relaxed. Now you just look straight fucking lethargic. Shit, really? He said, now you look straight fucking lethargic. You got to remember, this is a performance, you know? Like, you got to be an animated version of yourself, you know? Because I was trying to relax. You're like, relaxing too much. And it was, then the next night, Saturday night, we fucking did it again. It was like this every fucking night on, you know, we did it regularly.
Yeah, we did.
And you always took the time to watch my shit and sit down and give me notes, and it meant the world.
Hardest part about, like, when you're a comic, especially once, you know, you've made it and people go like, what should I do? And my whole thing is, like, it's not so much me telling you, I'm trying to always protect your integrity. When I mentor even comics now, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you how to be funny. I'm not going to tell you to take that out or add that in. I'm just going to try to help you to figure out, in some way, the fundamentals to get to whatever the truth is that you are. Because that's what they're going to respond to, even more than the jokes. Believe it or not, the jokes are not what they're... It's musicality. It's, I've got a secret. I'm going to let you know what it is in a second. Hold up. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of things happening under the surface. I came up watching a guy, Johnny Carson, on The Tonight Show. When a joke went bad, that's when he was fucking amazing. When the crowd didn't react...
It's like a facial expression. Like,
it was like, oh, that's where you're alive. Not in the formulaic stuff that you've prepared.
Yeah.
In the moments that something happens, somebody drops the glass, and then maybe somebody gets to know you within that moment. So I was getting to see you in real time. And again, like, I want to be like, recognizing pretty quick that, like, I really wanted to give you some genuine love and friendship. I just felt something from you. Maybe I even probably knew a little bit of your story to understand kind of like where you were coming from. But I remember night to night, whenever we could shoot the shit about it, I was always like, my goal tonight with Stevo, middle name Gilchrist.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Is I always wanted to call him that, by the way. I was like, I don't call him Stevo. I want to call him Gilchrist. Was to try to tell him a little something that I recognized that was good, and maybe something that was like, all right, that needs a little bit of...
Yeah, I mean, because let's be clear, like, I was doing this basically for the first time.
Yeah.
I wasn't destroying.
He was floundering. No. He was recognizable, and it was like he had a lot more work to do than somebody who's brand new.
Yeah.
Because they had assumptions.
He made me go up in front of 2,000 people.
Did he really?
I forced him to just...
He's like, don't worry, if you bomb, we'll film the entire thing.
Yeah. It's called Stevo's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. And if you go on Amazon and type in Stevo's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole and order yourself a bottle, you'd be really helping me. Because right now we're ranked number 30 on all of Amazon. And if you buy a bottle, we might go up the ladder. And that would mean a lot. So please, get on Amazon and buy Stevo's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. Yeah. Yeah, dude.